Well, hello and welcome back to our final last bonus session of the Essential Immune Boosting Tea Workshop. This was an absolutely surprise last minute live that you could pop on with me after this morning and realizing with some of my members that it was New Year's morning all over the world, that I had very special members and some of you in the workshop actually pop up at such a crazy early morning. And some of you were working late at night. So I really appreciate all of you who came to the Zoom. But then there was also an issue with the Zoom link in the emails, and I deeply, deeply apologize about that. Sorry, when I was in the Zoom, I wasn't checking my emails at the same time. So we thought, hello, surprise, we'll have an extra bonus session with you. So I asked Jodie if she could come on and share a little bit about how she even got into tea. She has a very interesting story, and I've been reading it actually through the comment chats when you guys are chatting with each other while I'm going live. So I'm going to welcome Jodie Jeffers, and she can explain a little bit about who she is and what she does.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much for popping on. Do you want to share with everyone who you are, what you do, and how you got into tea?
Sure. So my name's Jodie Jeffers, and I am a registered nurse. I've been in critical care, working the front lines for 30 years, going on 31 here shortly. And I have been also worked pre-hospital. And so I've worked a lot of awkward shifts, as you could say, 24-hour shifts, 12-hour nights, days, flipped, etc. And I have probably for that whole time, learned how to drink coffee and got into it and drinking, thinking that was the only thing for me that could keep me awake or make me more alert. And that was just it. Interestingly enough, I ended up learning. I started as a wee person going down the shopping carts, looking up on the walls, going, I need to try a tea, and grabbed a box and actually found one that seemed to fit what I was looking for. I liked it. It sort of had sweet and spicy, and I thought, okay, this is not bad. And that was my extent of my worldly knowledge of tea until I came up two Decembers ago, I think it was, up to Fairbanks. And my sister lives up there with her family. So if Janine, I don't know if you're here. Anyway, she took us to a wonderful tea ceremony. And I'm thinking, oh, I just drink coffee. Yeah, whatever. I'll just go along. My mom was there. No problem. I got to tell you, it was an eye opener, and it was so much fun. And Jenny was there, and there was 4 of us. Yeah, 4 of us there with Jenny, and sat in an amazing amount of time. I think we were there for hours. I was scared that we maybe closed you guys down or whatever.
I don't know. Time escapes everything when you're enjoying wonderful tea and company.
Exactly. I ended up grabbing paper, starting writing notes during this. And I was just like, you're kidding me. I didn't know this. I didn't know this. I didn't know this. And it was just fascinating about teas just in general. My mom had COPD, and she was having a lot of lung problems, etc. And so being in the medical field, all of a sudden Jenny's talking about the Dragonwell tea. And I got to tell you, I was like, whoa, okay, I got to check this out more. And it was fascinating. And I've had it. In fact, I had some earlier because it's getting congested. And I'm like, hey, I have learned this. I may be a frequent flyer and maybe of a student, etc. But it's been so much fun. And Jenny, I got to tell you, you're a hoot to listen to. You make it fun, enjoyable, and so that's how I sort of got started, and then found out the opportunity to be with the Universi-Tea Program. and become a subscription and getting into that. And I immediately grabbed my sister and it's like, okay, we got to do this. And so we did. And I've learned so much. I have so much more to learn, but it has been fascinating. And the other thing is like I said, I work as a healthcare nurse. And so I have found that I start taking my big jug of tea with me and I start sharing with others. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be a hard night. Here, you can try this. You got to try this. And it's just been a lot of fun and they just really like it. And then I found out about and I'm afraid I'm not the best in pronunciation. So
That's
is it
okay.
masala Tai Chi?
Chai.
Tai
No, the
tea.
masala chai.
Masala chai. Okay, there we go.
Mhm.
See, keep on learning. Never learn it all. And we were finding that we just loved to have that with our 1,000 mile tea. And it was,
Ooh.
oh, it was awesome. It was just awesome. I
Did
get
that
that
really keep you guys
request.
up at late at
Oh,
night? Are you guys able to?
I mean, it just helped the shift go really well. It kept us alert. You didn't get the jitters from the coffee of, oh, I've got to now eat food because I'm getting jittery. And oh, it was, yeah, it was very, very, and the taste of the masala was just awesome. So I see Kristen. Where's Kristen
Yeah.
hailing from?
I think
Got to
she's
write that
I
in the
don't know,
comments
Kristen,
here.
where are you from? Yeah, you have to write that in the comments. I don't know where you're watching from, Kristen. I'm not sure where other people are. I know Leah's watching from California, and
Oh,
then
great.
Cassandra. I'm not really sure where Cassandra's watching from. So if you guys want to write in the chat where you guys are watching from, and then if you have any questions for Jodie, also like just write down your questions. I mean, she's been a member like for a while now, from like our very beginning of our evolution of tea classes into Cassandra's from North Pole, Alaska, and
Awesome.
then it turned into like a subscription box. But you know me, like I just don't have it in my heart to be just like, here, just buy some tea. Like that's nice. I can't. I just can't. I have to like educate and like answer all of your questions you have, because I'm like one of those people. I'm like, so now what? Like what are you gonna do with this? That's nice. I mean, that's the thing, is like I just don't like investing my time or my money into something I just don't really appreciate or get. And so I'm always wanting to know more. So,
Hmm.
what have you been the most surprised about in the university program?
I think it was more for me when I started taking some of the classes. I'm like, all of a sudden, a work schedule would switch, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to miss this or I'm going to miss that. But one of the things that I really appreciate how you've set up the program is that so all of a sudden I may get called into work or something has come up, and I'm like, oh, I really wanted to learn more about that. I've heard about it, but what does that mean? Or I think I skimmed through that section and now I need to do a little bit more. And I apologize. My dog is drinking over here and I thought I had her out of the room. So apologize. Um,
Oh,
anyway,
I can
getting,
hardly hear it.
okay,
Is she
good.
drinking tea?
Uh, you know, that is something I've got to talk to you more about. And so with the program, what I have found that has helped me the most, and truly the most, is the part that I may not have had the time or focused into, okay, I got to do one of the classes, or I wanted to go review when I missed maybe a live session that you had. And I'm like, oh, that's right. But because I'm a Universi-Tea member, I get on and I found, oh, I missed that one too. Shoot. And I sit there and one night I binged you for the whole night. It was just like, oh, I
Oh my
forgot about
gosh.
that. Yes, this is great. And it was a total accidental binge, but it was so much fun. And it was like, oh, yeah. Because I think starting off I was just a sort of casual listener, and then it's like, no, wait a minute. No, I can use this. This is really good. Someone else, and this is one of the other fun parts of the program that I like, is that you're hearing from, I'm not able to see who is signed in or put into the comments, etc. Oh, I guess I can now. Great. But all of a sudden, I'm like, wow, look at that. is finding out what other people have liked. And I learned about, again, that is going to be my number one project this year. Sorry, number one project this year for learning how to pronounce the T's correctly.
Well,
So
I'm not perfect either. So a lot of it has to do with the accents and
good
intonations
point.
and the tones depending on those countries and that native tongue. So I try very hard to pronounce Indian names correctly, but you kind of have to do it like a sing-songy type of way.
And so Emily was the one that she kept talking about the
Rooibos.
rooibos.
Hmm.
Rooibos. See, this is the one that I'm probably going to have the hardest one. But oh my gosh, I hadn't even tried. I just once before, and I thought, no, wait a minute. Let's mix this one with 1,000 Mile tea because one, I want to help be nice and alert at work. Two, I sometimes, pulled a little bit too heavy, pushed her, trying to lift someone, and I'm like coming home going, oh, I'm just dying here. I got to tell you, I've mixed that, and we've even done a 3-part. We did the 1,000 Mile, we did the chai tea because it smelled so wonderful, and then we did the rooibos. And I was like, okay, we're on to something here. And I've had more people going, hey, do you got that 3 combination tonight? I'm like, no
The
problem.
three
We'll get you set up.
combination. But you must also remember, even though you guys were already mixing things, one of my big focuses this summer was teasing you into how to create your own custom blends, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
how to use the spices and the herbs and the science, the food science behind that and the extraction. So
Right.
we'll be definitely going more into that this year.
And that is one thing I definitely am looking forward to with the food part is learn. I didn't take it full advantage as I wanted to, so it's 2021 and I'm going to be able to do that. So that's good. So
Yeah, we have a lot of comments here. We've got, okay, so Kristen is
awesome,
from Wasilla. I think she's our newest
David.
member. She just joined the Universi-Tea Program and she's visiting in North Pole. And we have Gail, who is a Fairbanks transplant, but she's in Arizona now. And we have Cassandra watching in North Pole, and her whole family's been enjoying these tea classes and workshops and learning from us too. And she also uses rooibos for asthma. Now, as a medical
Excellent.
professional, I'm not really sure, like, are you allowed to like give advice like for what you're learning? I don't
So
know. Like,
really good question. And so just like you have mentioned before, um, I'm a registered nurse, and so I'm not a doctor. I don't
mhm.
diagnose. I don't I don't write for prescriptions or anything. And that is my Maddie here. She's chiming in here in the background. Um, but one of the things is that I can say I know the physiology and the background of some of the things that are happening with the body, like with the asthma, with COPD, with the lungs. And then when you had mentioned about the bromine and different things that might be in the tea, I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, wait a minute, this would be really good. And so from that, so no, I'm not going to diagnose an issue and I'm not going to do this, but I can say from my own experience, this is what I have found. So I hope that answered.
Hmm. Yeah, and
But
like for me, I only repeat the testimonials of, I can't say clients, I'm not practicing anymore, but
right.
like my customers, and they're like, oh, I use this for this totally works for this. And what I love, and I think is hilarious sometimes, is when we were able to be closer together, like even in the tea house, people would come to the
Right.
tea house for different reasons. Like we actually have a sleep doctor here in town who actually like writes like a prescription for them to come and only shop at Sipping Streams for our chamomile. He's like, you
Wow.
cannot buy grocery store stuff. No, no, no. Don't go to Fred's. No tea bag stuff. I don't even care if it's in the bulk aisle. The freshness is not there to work. And so we have just like lists of his customers come in. But before COVID times, when we're able to be closer, you would start hearing back and forth. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I use for this, and I use this for this. And I just stand back and let them share. Like it's magical because they're learning from each other, really.
Exactly. And I have learned so much by reading the comments, seeing what other people are doing and just going, hey, though, interesting conversation combination. I got to try that and see what happens.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's awesome. And that's, one of the things that you had mentioned in one of the very first classes that I had taken was that the the task at hand of how we opened up the existing tea bag, and you're looking at it and learning about what was inside, and then you're looking at Jenny's awesome loose leaf teas and going, okay, this is a no-brainer. This is awesome, and we're going to just throw that off down the aisle. And I think I had said that in one of the other uh, testimonial things, is that seriously, look at what you're doing right now. You're seeing me, don't know me from Adam, and that's fine. But here you are, you're able to talk to Jenny. You're able to go online, see what it is, and actually have that interaction. Where as you're going down the shopping cart and you're going, okay, well, there's this brand. Now maybe I'll research how the company is and what their reviews are. You're getting it live. You're seeing it right there. You're seeing the comments that are in there, and you really do feel like, okay, I know this person now. I know more of them. I'm seeing them, and I'm able to try to learn from that, and from that interaction, just like you said in the classes at the store, you get that. You learn about a person. You get that immediate instincts. You're going down a store shopping aisle, you're not seeing that at all, and you have no clue what's happening. And that's what I think is one of the big huge benefits of the sipping streams is. So
Oh,
but
thank
that's
you. Yeah, and more importantly for me is for me to give you the skills and ability to figure it out on your own.
mhm.
Nowhere, like I've mentioned this several times before, nowhere in Sipping Stream's mission statement, and this is why my mom's probably surprised of how long I've even stayed in business, is to make a bunch of money. It's really to help educate people so they can make their own decisions. Like if you find an amazing Indonesian white tea and we don't sell it, go buy it. Just because we don't sell it doesn't mean it's not amazing. Like
Exactly.
go and experience that, partake in it. We're not here to push our brand. We're here to educate you, and that's why we're doing this certified tea specialist program. So you can go on and share it with everyone. You could be like me. You'll be me, except not me, not weird and silly like me, but like, go forth and share that information and knowledge and impact people's lives for sure.
Well, and one of the other things, two things. One, Cassandra, I wanted to mention on your comment that I just saw come by. I learned about that this summer too, about where she was with the robots on the mosquito bites. It was just like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, that is awesome. I'm like, and I think I had ordered a whole huge tin from you at that point. It was like, yes, okay. But I wanted to get back to, about that education of when part of being with the program, we got the cool plant.
Yeah.
The
The
how
Camellia sinensis plant.
Thank you very much. Of the plant. And so the next thing I know, I started doing a little bit of an internet search. Okay, how do I keep this alive? Because I've got black thumbs. This is a misnomer. That's black in the background. I've kept it alive, but it's, in fact, I reached out to someone else and I realized it was too dry. Back to here's the tribe, the membership of my plant starting to look a little bit peaked. What do I do? And I'm seeing all these others. And so it was about the spritzing and keeping it moist. I was like, okay, no problem. I can do this.
I'm the
Nate.
opposite. I made mine too wet. So it was
Ah,
drowning because I was afraid to make it too dry. And so pouring the water, like even a little bit of water each time in it, was actually because the soil and is a potted plant,
right.
so it was retaining the moisture in it. So much so that I didn't know, a little bit at a time, I could actually pour the little tray on the bottom that leaks out the
Yes.
water. It was actually pouring out water. I didn't even realize like a little bit amount of water each, couple days was doing that because of the
Right.
soil that I had specifically from whatever I had. So now I've been spritzing it because for me, it's making it drier. So I'm the opposite of you.
No, totally. But part of that is I found right in my hometown, well, right next in Salem, Oregon, there's a place that grows those tea bushes.
Oh, Cool.
I know. And so I had contacted them, and with COVID, they don't normally have tours there, but I found where the location was, stumbled across a food market place that they had some of their teas with that plant, but more importantly, they were selling some more of the tea bushes. And I'm like, okay, this is great. I got 3 more bushes, so in case I kill off one, I'm set. But
Yeah.
it was fascinating to find out, and hopefully this summer I can go and actually be up close and see them. I mean, it was pretty cool to see.
Yeah,
So,
it's when you go and visit actually a tea nursery, just like the clonals, the cuttings, how they cross pollinate them, how there's a mother tree. I don't know if you've ever heard me explain this before, but like when I went to Yunnan province, like the homeland of the tea plants itself,
uh-huh.
and it was like the movie Avatar. And then when you learn the breeding of the tea plant itself, what it needs, like naturally, like cross pollination in nature, and it needs like a mother tree. The science goes, that's probably over a month long course. Anyways, of that it's like I kept thinking like, oh my gosh, it's like Avatar. Like, like there's like a mother tree that needs to be close in proximity of these other trees to make new seedlings. It's so amazing and fascinating. Like we're definitely going to be going more in depth on that in
Excellent.
the TV class. So
Excellent.
for and with the classes, like you said, being able to do it at your own pace, your own schedule, you have your own career. Not everyone's going to be able to finish in a month. Some people can finish in a week. Maybe they, can binge watch it all and take the classes and take the exam and pass. But other people, like us who are busy, we need like that little bit of encouragement, that every week, weekly encouragement, and then the extra lives that happen. And then you're just going, oh, I got to get back on track. Oh, good thing I have 2 months to complete this level. And then, move on to the next one, or however you want to do it at your own pace.
Exactly. And that's where I think I used another analogy. So I've been a nurse for 30 years. Prior to that, I worked as a paramedic for 10 years. And there
Wow.
was, well, but the funny part about it is I took anatomy and physiology, I think 3 times over the course of a year. Each time I'd learn a little bit more, right? That first time you take it, it's just like, oh, okay, what do I get through just to take the test, And then each time, sort of like a nutrition class, different things that I learned. If anybody's in the medical or in the healthcare field, you may have heard the phrase Krebs cycle. That was my Achilles heel. I never understood it. It took forever. But the point I think I'm trying to make here is that you can't just learn it the first time around. And you got to be able to review, pick up more. Maybe the time that you were listening to it, you were just rushed. Oh, okay, got to get my homework done real quick, or something. But the multitude. I mean, I also teach first aid and teach different classes that time. In my past. And the educator part of me just loves this whole concept because it is something that you can repeat and pick up. You can fast forward. You can do it when right now I'm really excited. I wanted to check in on something. I just go to the program. I can find it. I can do it. I may not be able to look at it for a couple weeks and maybe a couple months, but then it's like, oh, wait a minute. I've got time. Look, I'm going to do it. You can't do that in other classes. And I don't think of the program as, we call it as Universi-Tea, but what it is that it's an ongoing, it's not a set course. This is what you have to do. You got to do it. Here's your grades. Boom, boom. This is just constant renewal and
True.
because we all absorb different things at different times. And that to me, I think this is what it is the most important for me and has been the most beneficial. There's been so many, I can go on and on. But what it is that it works with each individual for their lifestyle. And it's set up that way. It's not on a time limit, boom, 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 got to get it done. And what you take, well, hope you learned enough and on your way. and that's totally different. And that's what I truly, and then of course it is the surprise when the teas come in the mail. It's like, yes, what's
I
inside the
know.
box?
It's like we're providing you with the tea. It's not like you're just taking a class. Like, so you and I both know CEUs. Okay, so I'm a certified teacher. I'm still a certified
Yep.
teacher. I go in and I
Right.
take my class, my $2,000 one class, just to get 3 credits, and I need 10 credits every few years. I'm just like, you show up, you binge whatever that thing is, you write your
Exactly.
project or paper, and hello, bye. Hope you visit us again. I don't know if you're actually going to apply the Constitution of Education in the country of Australia, which was actually one of my classes I had to take for my master's part. And
Neat.
it was like, what does this have to do with physical education? I'm like, okay, I'm
Right.
doing it to
And that's
do
just
it.
it.
I hope I get something out of it. Um,
But that's the beauty of the program, is that each person's going to go in with a different focus, and I mean, it puts a fun challenge to you to try to have that wide variety of different options of here, like someone mentioned about learning about more of the self natural healing, and so you have that sort of that option. We talked about the mosquitoes. I, I hadn't even thought about that. That was so cool. And then there's about the wine infusion tea. Oh, I definitely want to learn more about that. But then it was also about the cooking. And then it's like, well, I had a dog prior. She's young now, but my other one, I was like, I I could have had Robois for her. She might have helped her with her anti-inflammatory. And so I'm like, I got to learn more, even more, even though I got sort of a hyper youngster now that I'm on the computer, but four-legged kind. But just learning, it's natural. How can we, fun experiments of is this going to help? Is it not? Maybe she's pretty much of a picky eater. I mean, I want to learn and explore lots of different options, and that's what's so
mhm.
fun about this. So,
So
but
now that I'm guessing you're not going to start another career after being a nurse, but you're
you
on your
never
way
know.
to be a tea specialist. I mean, what does it mean to you to be a tea specialist? It might, I mean, like some people like, what am I going to do with this? And I'm already doing what I want to do. Like, why would anybody want to do this for fun? What does it mean to you?
Good question. To me, all right, so we've had the different classes, and I've taken sort of here and there. But what piqued my interest right away with that is when you showed us today a little bit more about how in depth and what we were going and sort of that outline plan. I was like, okay, now this I think is where I need to go on my next step of I've gotten some of this information. Now I want to try to apply it more. But I'll be honest with you, at work, one of the things that before I'm like, okay, so I think I've learned this correctly on this tea, and go ahead and try that. But now I want to be able to go and say, look, I really have invested in a lot of time and in learning. And so for my own knowledge, so when they ask me, well, what does this mean? I'm like, I'm not sure. I'll get back to you. And then they go, oh, well, have you had tried this tea? And I'm like, oh, I've never heard of that tea. Okay. So I go back but I've got tools there, and I'm excited about having some validity of more concentrated, more, what's the word? The validation. I've gone through this, and I feel that by successfully passing with working with Jenny, that I can help share that information as well as take me to another level to say, I want to even learn more. I want to learn more about this area, or I want to learn more about this area, and takes me down different ways. And I think it's just another bigger stepping stone, but it helps me feel like, okay, that this is what I need. This is another step and level of learning in life, and finding out, oh my gosh, there's still so much other things. When I just saw about those 6 units, I'm like, oh, okay. So
Yeah. And so, Brian, did you get to update the website anymore? of like moving. He is actually okay, so we've had a year of postings of videos, a whole year. So there's hundreds of videos in the university portal, and I used to just do them by day. And as like I did the videos, and we had guest speakers, and we had special workshops or whatever. And so Brian's like, that's a lot of dates to scroll through, right? And so now, since we already have this whole bank for anyone new who wants to join us, they can now look in sections. Like, well, he's working on it, anyways. He's
Going to
organizing like,
sections.
yeah, they'll be put into sections like name some sections, Brian.
All about the tea.
Okay, all about the tea. So it's very tea specific focus. So if you're like, I need to know what cardamom does, why do we even use it as a spice? You go click that video. Now you know what cardamom does.
Yes.
It's another section could be tea experts that we've had, So it'll be the Kenyan Tea Company. So it's like did you get to watch that seminar? Were you part of that seminar?
Yes.
And that was
awesome.
very in depth. I mean, that could have gone on for hours. And
Easily.
Easily, because we talked about so many different tea types grown in Kenya. And then we talked about a little bit about the processing of it that they use specifically for their company that's different than the rest of Kenya, which was just like fascinating. And the areas and the elevation and the soil conditions on how their own company's tea is different from each other, even though they're all grown in Kenya.
Wow.
So then we'll have special tea guests in a section. We might have like culinary teas and recipes in another section, so you no longer have to scroll through the hundreds of videos, that they're all organized. You're like, oh, where was Jenny grilling with tea? Like, I thought she was using tea as like a marinade or like for the tacos. I don't know if you saw the salmon taco one this summer.
I missed that one.
Yeah, it's in there. It's in there. There's a lot of videos in there. So if you're like, hey, I've got this smoky tea. I don't particularly like it myself to drink from, but I think Jenny said there was a cooking recipe for blackened Alaskan salmon tacos, and that's what I used it for. So there's so many different resources in the university program that is just a free-for-all. And then now we're structuring and helping people fine tune and create the next level that builds onto the next level, that builds onto the next level. And that's why the Chinese tea ceremony, which you've partaken in before, you see me. I can just chat and make tea because it's all in there. It's like the flow of it all. So that's kind of why the final exam is actually a virtual oral presentation.
I think that's wonderful.
So it's kind of crazy that's like full circle for you, because that's like one of their very first experiences with us was that tea ceremony that you had so many years ago.
Yeah, and that what's fun is like my sister also lives up in Fairbanks, Alaska, and she and her family, but she has taken quite a few people through the different class. And trying to, she said, she picks up on things all the time, each time it goes through. And I was just like, I totally spaced out that was more formal, because you were just going in and telling and talking. We'd ask you a question and you're going through the different teas, and I'm like writing madly down just of some information. But no, I'm definitely looking forward to that by far. But I'm curious of the people that had joined us tonight. I've seen that we got the Roll Boys. What else did people like on their teas? Because I learned from everybody else. So.
Let's see. We had some people mention about rooibos. Oh, Kristen said she wanted to learn more about natural healing, and she used to work in healthcare too. And she started learning how to use tea for health, and she has lots of books, but wanted to go through more official training. Well, that's awesome. That's very interesting. I mean, not a lot of former medical professionals like me are in the tea field. I go to the World Tea Expo. I talk to people. I talk to either the researchers, like I can meet in person, and I'm like geeking it out, talking to the cardiologist, and everybody else in the room's got like blank stares, like, what in the world are they talking about? But I feel like maybe because I'm first generation American and English wasn't my first language, that I'm like the liaison. I'm like, this is what he means by that. And then this is what this means, and this is how it works. Because I'm so used to dealing with kids,
Right.
trying to explain it visually, in a way that they can understand and break down the science of it. Because they can use all these amazing big words, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm in heaven. But then I turn around, I'm like, oh no, everybody else doesn't get what they're talking about. So,
Exactly.
but
I see
yeah,
someone mentioned Northern Serenity. Actually, that is one that I have yet to try.
you
I
haven't
know.
tried that?
I know. It's bad. It's bad.
Wow. Well, you haven't
I
had the
know.
flu yet. When you have the flu, you will definitely grab for some Northern Serenity.
I think
So it's
I had
actually good.
no, and I think I may have tried it once, but I'm picking up on some of these other ones, and I'm like, I definitely need to expand because I got myself in that sort of 3-4 combination one, and I'm like, all right, I got to branch out more. So
And Cassandra uses it to help with her anxiety. Very
nice,
fascinating, actually. Yeah.
yeah, nice.
Mm-hmm. Oh
Because
yeah,
this
Gail says
is
about it, about the Northern Serenity.
see, and that's we've heard about it, we've seen it, but it was at the time maybe not our major interest or trying to focus in, and so now, sorry, so now they you get to see the different things, and this is what I love about this whole part is that it fits the needs of each individual, but you learn off of others and then go, oh, that's the one I heard about. What was that one? And now I want to try it. So, but
Yeah, it's totally like holistically making the connections.
right,
Like you could learn all about tea, but that's where maybe part of my background of culinary with my parents and like integrating, food as medicine as that was actually normal for us.
right,
But not everyone sees that integrate it in as like you drink the Northern Serenity. Now you make the connection that it helps with, like maybe for you, helps with decrease of anxiety, but actually helps with decreasing of inflammation, open up the sinuses and the bronchioles.
right,
Actually, that's what's really good about Northern Serenity, which ends up eventually helping fight sinus infections for many people. So it's not a diagnosis or a cure, but it
oh,
aids in those types of ways. And
right,
so you start like making these connections and you're like, oh, well, my kid likes milk and sugar in theirs. I'm like, oh, you know what? It is a chocolate mint. Okay, there you go. It's like a thin mint. Like, it's
right,
something to get them to start drinking it or something like that. There's so many different recipes and ways you can consume it: hot, ice, frozen, blended. I don't know, like whatever it is that works for you. And then learning about how that food of tea or these botanicals are preserved, because there's a lot of misnomers of like temperature differences or combinations with foods, or
mhm,
hesitations or myths out there about the combinations and how they really work and absorb into our bodies. I mean, you know about that too. Like we're not super professionals in diet and nutrition, but we know a little bit about the physiology of how
right,
that reacts into our bodies.
right,
And so, yeah, there are a lot of myths out there and are
mhm,
controversial myths. And that's why I read that case study and that case study, and usually they're inconclusive. So,
exactly, exactly.
yeah.
Well, and you brought up the other good point of the whole thing of I always thought tea was hot, except for my growing up, my mom had the Lipton iced tea cold, and I hated it. Every once in a while you take a sip, and like, oh, what? But I got to tell you, what I love about one is that your container, your 64-ounce Big Blue, I have the blue and the black. There you
Oh
go,
my God.
right there.
Sorry, my
It
ear
keeps it
something.
hot for a very long time. Yep, that I have coworkers that seek that out. And so but what the beauty is that I will then go and I'll take the cup and I'll add ice. And I never thought about the whole ice or even blending. And then when you mentioned about the ice cream, I'm like, oh,
Oh yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yep. We have
So
two ice cream companies who are making ice creams out of our tea. So I do a lot of
no
consultation
kidding.
for helping them like create the recipe. So it actually tastes what it would be as if you were just to drink that tea in the best way. So
No. Well, I'm gonna have to
I mean, I
have
can't
family
actually,
go
but
try that. Well, I know, but
hot.
I'll have family. I'll have family go try that. That's awesome. But
Yeah.
and then I see that the Arctic Bliss and then the blooming tea. Pretty
Oh
cool.
yes, yes, so much fun. And that it's not just learning about it. Yes, we're talking about like what we can learn from it, but in the end, it's the experience and the connections. Like you had that tea ceremony with your sister and other friends and family, right? You
Right.
experienced that. That blooming art tea, that is an experience to be appreciated, that mindfulness and or shared with your family. It's
Exactly.
not just for one person, but it can be. You have to remember that it has to also be for that one person, but then also for everyone. It's just this amazing balance,
Right.
this culture of tea is really. So, yeah.
Definitely. Definitely.
Oh, Leah's got an
Good.
ice cream maker. Now she wants to make some tea ice cream. She's one of our newest members too. Leah Fargo,
Welcome,
welcome.
Leah.
So yeah, so this you know very well, Jody, how I have the prices go up. They don't go back down. You, Jody, got totally locked in at a great rate when you did. And you also know if you cancel or suspend, if you want to join
Never.
back, it's the more
Never.
expensive rate. And now that we've truly evaluated the outline of this university certification program, it is still an amazing deal at what I don't feel comfortable going above and beyond. So this rate is going up tonight, Alaska time at midnight. So if you want to
Yeah.
lock it in now, you should totally
Yeah.
lock it in.
I can't emphasize enough of in fact my sister and I talked on the phone after we attended this morning session and stuff a little bit, and making sure that we never go out of the program. But the thing is that as I've explained to other people, I talked briefly about this at the beginning, is that you really think about it. I'm right now having to go back to school, not for my work, and it's a requirement for work, etc. But I'm paying almost $4,000 to attend a time frame, even though it's online, of this crash sort of education. And if I don't get it all done, then I'm paying up almost another 4,000 to get my degree. And
Oh,
I know, and I'm very frustrated with that. Number one, it's a requirement for a job, and I have to get it done, and I have to do it. And I think the part that bugs me the most is that when I'm done, so is the education part. I can't go back. I can't research more on the stuff that was
yeah.
there. I don't have access. I am locked out unless I'm paying my money of being able to review. I mean, I haven't attended any healthcare programs that once or twice they said for the year you can go back in. But with Jenny's, that is to me my lifetime commitment of learning more about teas and health in general. I always will be finding fascinating and branching off here and there. But the cool thing is that in 10 years, don't you ever you're too young to retire. But I mean, think about this: 3 years down the road, I'm still accessing all the previous stuff. I'm accessing the new stuff. I'm accessing the current stuff. I mean, and I can go back and forth, and that I went, if I look at the money from this, I'm getting teas, I got a plant. I mean, just this constant stuff of different things that has helped me to jump from point A to point B and go, this is a whole nother part of this I had no clue even existed. I never even thought about it. And so I go full circle, but I also keep learning. And I mean, it's well worth it. And when you, especially, by monthly, whatever, I know we all are trying to watch our P's and Q's on dollars, et cetera, but for everything that you're getting and continuing, I do feel the importance of it. And I know I never plan on leaving. So,
Yeah, and that's the nice thing is that now that we've made it a 12-month program, I was like, well, what about the people who want to stay in? And so those people who are coming in at the new rates, you will be discounted down to $200 a month if you want to just keep access for and keep getting teas. I mean, why not? And like I said before, each one of those shipments of tea, it always includes one rare tea at least. It's not just your regular tea, something specialty that we can showcase for you. I mean, I don't know if you've had some shipments from me, Jodie, or not, where I actually gave out my own personal pour collection. I have no more. I cut up my own
Oh, that's right. I remember that was this summer.
Pour collection. That was my own. I mean, those were worth thousands of dollars. And I was like, rare tea, here we go. Here, let's share it with the university members. And so I'm like, okay. I mean, but that's the whole point, is to share it, right?
Right. No, I just thoroughly, and it's just like when you said, had you talked to us last year at the very beginning in January, whatever, this whole Universi-Tea hadn't been part of it, but it was like, no, I want to learn about all these teas, and you were developing different things here and there, and who knows what next year will bring. Who knows what different things that you're going to learn from the community here of saying, hey, what about this? What about this? And to me, each time there may be something it may be only just one short little class, but that's cool. Each time we're learning, and we keep going back to learning more. So, I mean, that's for me, because I can definitely tell you there are certain things that first class, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. And so as soon as you had it again, I'm like, yes, okay, and I retained even more. And each time I walk away with going, oh, either that's right, yep, or I don't remember that one at all, but now I've got it down. And so,
and that's the other thing, is that you guys in the University program, you literally have my personal cell phone number. Like, you can get it anytime, or you already have had it at least once. and I get messages. I think it was Sharon. She's like, I can't believe she's messaging me at 2 a.m. I just wrote to her, because Sharon will stay up really late up at night. It's like 1:30.
Sharon and I are late nighters, so yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, I got a message. I'll just sit up, like, okay, this is what you need. Yeah, no, it does not have that. That's actually a literal drug. Black tea does not contain that drug. This is Irene, messaging me last night about a specific drug, and I was like, are you talking about a component of the tea plants, or are you talking about actually an ingredient in the tea? She's like, an ingredient. I'm like, no, that's black tea, dear. Only I mean, I look it up. I'm like, oh no, that's literally a drug, and it's a drug that was actually created synthetically. I'm like, no, there's no way that can be in there. It's just black tea. So
now, Jenny, have you seen this one about the robos for crying babies?
Oh yeah, I said that. Yep. Oh. Leah was messaging me, and I was like, okay, this is where you saw me hands, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna answer her right
now. Oh, cool. I didn't see that. That's awesome.
Yep.
That's interesting. So, I mean, again, I keep learning each time a little bit more. That's truly the fun of all this. So this has been great. I mean, I'm learning different things to pass on. I've got a good friend that they're going to be having a baby soon, and she likes tea, and so I want to be able to pass on different information. And so, excellent. Excellent.
Well, if anybody out there is interested in joining the University program, I'm going to put it in the chat right now. bit.ly/universe. Try to spell it right. -T. We're getting new tape for all of our boxes, so you'll see actually what the name is. Brian's really excited. We ordered a pallet of packaging tape, and we always reuse our boxes. I don't know, you might have gotten some boxes from us, but we literally reuse cardboard boxes all the time. Why not?
Repurpose. Why not? Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It still works. It's not going to tear. It's not going to damage the shipment or anything. But now we have branded tape that's coming in, because we go through a lot of tape. And anyway, so if anyone is interested in signing up, let's see what the countdown is over here. I have a countdown of where we are with how much time is left to lock in your price. Let's see. I gotta quickly check
4 hours and 11 minutes. right?
Is that what it is? I don't know. I don't even remember. I I put it on the clock. So let's see here. Let's share the screen. Oh, do you see that? 4 hours and 10 minutes. So if you want to join the university program, I mean, you can join it at any time, really, but that's when you're going to lock it in to that price before it goes up tonight. And there's going to be one more price increase after that. So, like, if you can't join until next week and you're going to pay the higher price, that's fine. Definitely do it before the end of February. That's probably going to be our most ultimate price. That is actually very reasonable to evaluate how much time we spend on making this program. So,
Definitely.
other things that we have, like Jodie, you had seen earlier today, was the websites, right? And so, in this website, in the certification program now, there's a welcome video. Brian has embedded it. And then here are the levels. Jodie, do you have any questions about these levels or any comments about these 6 levels?
Well, especially that level two and level three, I really wanted to dive deeper into that one. So I'm looking forward to doing that. As well as, let's see, sorry, I got to put my glasses back on. Matcha,
Okay,
definitely matcha. I've got to explore a little bit more about the matcha. So, and the kombucha, it's, first time around, I'm going back to that, but it definitely with the infusions and learning. So, and then I am very stoked to hear about not hear, but to learn and do that final part.
oh,
That's
yes, that's gonna be really amazing. And then these are all the other classes we have in here. Like anything and everything we train all of our employees at Sipping Streams, essentially they could run their own tea company other than they don't have the business side of it.
right. And that
They
5 days, go back up,
mm,
Jenny. That 5 days of tea transformational challenge is really a great next one for you guys. It's just I learned a lot with that, and but
yeah, and then there's the paid tea courses that are in here, but the ones that are for our levels will be newly updated and definitely more in depth. So you can buy these 3 classes at any time and do them at your own pace, but it's not going to have that one-on-one service that we provide you for sure.
and
And
to
go
clarify,
ahead.
Jenny, when you said to buy, if they do not go into the Universi-Tea program, that's what they can be buying, right?
Exactly, exactly. So they can just buy a T course, just like we can buy a course for CEUs or whatever, and then that's it,
Right,
right?
right,
There's not
right,
really any support or anything like that. And we only sell those 3 classes. Those are
right.
only 3 classes, but it doesn't have like the food science, the food pairing ones in there. And then, oh, this is the crazy channel that let me see. Can I get into the university channel anymore, Brian? Oh, am I not on the right page? Good grief. Like, hold on a second. I don't. Oh, here we go. Here we go. The university channel is that crazy bank that we were talking about that is just like scrolling, that binge watching videos. Um, so let's see right here, like all these. So, oh, we have a calendar now. So to
Yep,
keep you on track, there's a Google calendar you can look at. So you know when everything's going to happen that month. An orientation handbook. Here's the video about our Kenyan tea grower, Paul Bain, our virtual tea parties we have every month. Oh, here's the Thai tea ice cream. Okay, Leah Fargo, get into that Thai tea ice cream episode or the matcha ice cream. And literally, like an herbalist, we had a seminar with an herbalist next Monday morning, 7:30 a.m. Alaska Standard Time, or I think that's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going
yep.
to have that class with the dietitian and talking about intuitive eating. And then we've had all sorts of things submitted, even by our members, of their own recipes or different salves that they've made. Um,
That's what I got to go back on. I missed some of those, and I definitely got to get that back on.
Yeah, and all these teas, blending with tea, poured teas, tasting tea for the health benefits, handmade flower teas. Oh, here's the taco recipe, and pork chops. blending your own masala chai, kind of like how we created it, stress, anxiety to songs that help with that. I mean, they just go a way back.
Right.
So
And
yeah,
here's the prime example of there's no way that, I mean, there's binge watching to a certain extent, but there's no way you're going to be able to go through the first time, retain all of it, and say, okay, I'm done. That's the beauty of keep going back and forth. And I saw a couple that I went, oh, I totally missed those, and I want to go back and to re-see them, and or for maybe for the first time, and that in itself. When you break it out, it's just like whenever you buy a brand new pair of boots, let's say, and you're like, oh, those boots are really expensive, but they're really good quality. They're really good for you, and they've been working well, and you've used them now for 5 years. So you expanded, you looked at that price and you went, okay, well, I've used it for how long? Then
true.
it's worth the investment. I mean, I look at it, I mean, granted, boots, tea, they're not the same, but it's the concept that I'm trying to get at. So
Yeah, totally makes sense. And Gail says she's going to think about it more thoroughly, and she's very glad to be able to even see this. So Brian was just, giving his 2 cents. I don't know if you heard him in the background, but
no,
all that scrolling, we're reorganizing it. So that way you could just choose the section and the category of what you want to go over or quickly search for. So it's
great.
going to be, my husband's like the tech guy. So, that this whole setup, even when we change the camera angles, right? When I'm teaching you like an overhead view, or sometimes I'm like, granted, none of those salmon recipes, grilling. You see that? I'm in different camera angles. That's literally me putting up my camera and then continuing the recording and then streaming it live, watching it with you and answering your questions at the same time. That's how I cheat and do that. I figured out a way to make sure I'm still live with you while I'm streaming something I've piecemealed together into a really good episode for you. So,
There you
and
go.
even if you can't show up live, if you happen to, and I can't hit the camera and stop it or anything like that, I'm in there virtually chatting with you. So it's very, very powerful. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining us. Thank you, Jodie, for coming and just giving your expertise, your knowledge in what you do professionally, and then also your tea journey and how this has really, I'm surprised. I didn't know. I guess I didn't remember about the Chinese tea ceremony and then how it like connects now.
It
for you.
definitely does. Definitely does. Thank you so much. It's
You're
been
welcome.
great.
Well, everyone, have a great evening. Happy New Year and health and wellness for your future. We hope you join us in the Universi-Tea Program. If you're able to take advantage of tonight's special before, 3 more hours or something like that until
4
the
hours.
price goes up, 4 hours. So we hope that you join our amazing tea community, and we welcome all of the new members who have joined us already. And we can't wait to see the new members next Monday during our virtual seminar. But for the rest of you, we'll see you online, and make sure to ask us questions. Jodie's in the group. A lot of us are in the group. And Emily, she's in the group too, and she's really good about answering. And she's not paid. She's just a university member, just like Jodie. They will answer as much as they can or try to find out. Or message me and say, Jenny, this person's asking something. Did you see that? So anyways, thank you, everyone. And we can't wait to see you again very soon.